Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Darkhouse. Today we're going to do things slightly different. How and why, you may ask? How? Instead of taking you guys throughout the whole process of creating the whole composition, I'm actually going to guide you through the actual composition that I used. And why? Well, it's to give you guys a different perspective of how things are being done, and it gives me a little bit more time to talk about why I did things like that and what was going through my mind, I guess, throughout the whole process. And if you guys have any questions at the end, you can always go to the description of the video and download the assets, as well as the composition that I created, and you can just guide yourself through there. Oh, with that being said, let's get to it. Okay, so here we are in After Effects, and let's start from the bottom of my layers. Okay, so here I have a 2D image just as a background. Next up, same image with a mask on top, and mask has some curves to make the light above slightly brighter, as well as a lens blur to give it some sort of depth. We can go higher here. Let's see. The more depth, the more blur we add, the more depth we get. So second layer was just to create sort of a depth in the light illusion. Next we have our subject keyed out here. Now if you see here, the colors are extremely off. Now there is no color corrections done to this to the subject. Most of my color correction, at least for this comp, was done at the end because I wanted to go for something really sci-fi-ish, cartoony-ish somehow. So this could be done also here, which makes the color correction in the end slightly better, but that's really up to you. Okay, so that's just my subject, and with a little shadow. Okay, to try to sell the shot, since there's light coming from this side, I added a little shadow there with real shadows. Now, subject lightning. This layer is the same layer, which is my subject keyed out. However, on this layer there is some turbulent displacement and advanced lightning. Okay, I'm gonna hit U on my keyboard, and you guys can see here that this is when the subject is in. It basically falls from a lightning, or transports from lightning. So he comes inside of the screen. Now without turbulent displacement, it looks like shit, especially without the advanced lightning. Let me show you why. With turbulent displacement, my subject looks weird, like some sort of flubbery type of thing. But with the advanced lightning that I added, there is no subject. There's only lightning with the shape of my subject. Now, how did I do that? Here we have a on the advanced lightning, we have the two options. One, it depends on the type of lightning that you guys are using. Now there is two options. One, we can add the lightning inside an alpha channel, or outside an alpha channel, or basically the interaction between the channels with a setting here. Which is a setting? Jesus, I probably don't even remember at this moment, but here it is, alpha obstacle. Okay, so it's -100, meaning that it will only be in my on anything that does not have any alpha on it. So in this case, all the colors of my subject are the ones that get the lightning. If I go to, let's see, 100, then at that point there should be everything on the alpha, and I believe, let me see, no, it should be, it should go around. Okay, it's taking both in and out, so it's working with the channel and without the channel. Okay, but basically what I did was I just added some lightning with the okay, here you guys can see it again. Now how much, I guess 100 works, everything will be outside of the alpha. Negative 100, everything will be inside of the alpha. Now in this case, in my alpha obstacle right now, it's at negative 10, but I need it to be at negative 100 so it won't come out of the shape of my subject. See? Okay. So everything is basically there compressed, creating this sort of figure. So here, this is pretty cool. I try to do this fast, and that's the reason why I'm trying to explain it, so I can have more time in trying to explain how I did the effect instead of just taking you how to do this effect. So okay, now the amount is set to 86 on the turbulent displacement, so there's turbulent displacement there, and I'm gonna hit you, and basically these two, the subject with no effects comes out, and it fades. Basically, the opacity goes from 0 to 100, and here this channel also basically the lightning starts to fade away. If we now, let's do this. This can look much better, guys. Here you're looking at the comp that I used, but it did take me a while to do this whole thing because there's a lot of lightning and then finding the lightning course, but we'll get into that. Now, course settings, lightning. Alright. Here I added a second lightning, and just with that, it looks a lot better. Like there's an actual person here. So what if I size the origin? Okay. Now this looks a lot better. Two lightnings. I don't know why I didn't do it at start, I guess. Well, also have in mind when there's just too much going on in your scene, which is what I did, I started adding a bunch of different lightnings. So you don't really need a lot. In this case, if I was going to be doing a scene where this guy is the main focus instead of everything that was going around, you know, like something like that, perhaps at that point I would have focused more on the lightning of the person and, you know, more into detailing, creating, because it looks pretty cool to me right now. It looks like a figure, glowing figure. So imagine if we can continue working on this, we could probably get some something cool. I just got an idea, but we'll get to that. Alright, now here I have another element which is called subject exposed. I'm gonna click U on my keyboard to show my keyframes. So there's two masks here. So basically what this is as you can see, is my subject with an exposure and twitch, basically to make it look as we want to set up our Twitch to a high speed and a fair amount to make, well, when you see a lightning, it's not just one shine of light. You see a bunch of them. So that's why I tried to replicate, I guess, the exposure of a lightning. So I just added a few masks and then the opacities for the mask. So I guess in this point there's supposed to be lightning, and all this was created after the lightning was created, but basically at this moment there is going to be lightning. Now here I added the same lightning, same as to my subject. I added a new adjustment layer and I pasted the same effects, an exposure and a twitch. And but basically this one was, I guess this was a test to reflect the I guess the exposure of lightning. So there has to be a moment here where this kicks in. Okay, zoom here. Okay, so here after the color correction and everything, you'll see these spots light up or expose. Here we can see a little bit, and that's because there's going to be lightning there. So if there is lightning there, there should be a bunch of exposure in there in the scene. Now something like this, it's a lot harder to work on because we have these shadows, and if there is a lightning here falling exactly at this point, these shadows should move in distance and whatnot. But this is just a 2D image, so we're gonna try to do our best, and in this case we try to add a bunch of different elements. That way there is no focus on this, but the best idea would be to work on a 3D software. Anywho, next thing I did was I added a Optical Flares by Video Copilot. I think this is the first time we're using Optical Flares. And then I just positioned my flare there, and think I added a flicker. No, there's no flicker. Just to replicate basically a 3-dimensional look for the light. That's about it. And then I added another adjustment layer with the same exposure and switch. But this adjustment layer, my opacity is set to 20. That way it doesn't affect the whole scene and drastically, just a little bit. Okay, now here's my first lightning, and you're like, okay, probably where is it? No, it's right here. This layer with this lightning is right here, but you can't really see it because there's supposed to be some sun or something. Now here there's just a few keyframes for the origin and the direction, but here, check this out. Since there is some exposure here, you see it happening. Well, obviously this needs a lot more work, but it starts to I guess, give the illusion that there is some sort of exposure here. So that's why we need all those adjustment layers with the exposures, and they're all keyframe at the same time. So for example, here I want to see the lightning here. So what I do is I set up the opacity for this layer, and then the first one is right here, it falls right here. Then there's another one that hits the engine. Okay, and then it falls again, I believe, or it doesn't, or it falls right here perhaps. Yeah, it falls again, but to the hand. So this same layer of lightning changes drastically on position, the opacity and whatnot. And for all those movements, there is exposure going on within the scenes. Okay, so here there's just 2 more layers with more lightnings, Here's another one, and basically this lightning, I assume, goes there. Yeah, this one just goes inside the engine. It doesn't allow it to go all the way out. I guess it's an anywhere type of lightning, and then there's some settings here that allow you to compress the sizing of it. And this is also another lightning effect. And now this is just a camera lens blur that is also it's an adjustment layer with a camera lens blur, and then there's a mask on top. So we already added one here, right there, but there's not much of a difference. You can barely see it. So why add another one? Well, if this lightning, well, right now, since it's a still image, it looks okay, it looks cool, the detail and whatnot. But if this lightning is hitting this side of the plane, for example, if you see there's already some sort of blur on that plane, so we need to replicate that blur on the lightning as well. See, that way it looks out of focus, I guess, a little bit further in distance. So that affects only these three lightnings. So these three lightnings are these and the one that hits up here. So that's it. Then we have a bunch of other new lightnings. Okay, all these are just lightnings, lightnings everywhere. Okay, here they are. So let's see which one is the part that has one of these things. Okay, so here the guy falls, and then there's a lightning here. Right now it's just remembering this one guy that does CGI, well, full CGI, like 3-dimensional animations and whatnot. I was taking a course from him, and he said that it was better when you create the sound, I guess, of the effect. So I found it funny because I think I've done that once or twice, but I don't think it helps though. Anywho, so yeah, there's just a bunch of different lightnings, okay, and they all travel in distance. There's keyframes here just to give you guys an idea. I select all, and I press U, and you see there's a bunch of different keyframes. So this took a while, okay, to get the lightnings in the position, add more over here to don't make, it's not these. We wanted to move organically or just to create something crazy. It all depends on what you guys want or what look. And in my case, I added a bunch of them just because I like them. Okay, now here there is a crack, an element, and I 2D element and made it 3D. So this crack comes basically out of the lightning, and there's this should have been up to 0, but the lightning hits and it basically scales up. So that's just 3 cracks actually that I added. I don't even know. Okay, here's another one, and well, this one's made out of 2. But only this one gets bigger for some reason, I think. Yeah, okay. Now, all these little elements, I added it. Well, it's 2 different elements, duplicated a few times. So these are just from the Video Copilot's Action Essential packs, I believe. And what I did was, in this case, the layers right here. It's up here. So I wanted this to come out while the lightning is hitting this part of the truck, garbage truck, what it seems to be. Why? Because if it's hitting on metal, I'm assuming it creates some sort of spark. I didn't really study lightnings, but you know, I wasn't going for something extremely realistic, so, but that was just my thought. If, you know, lightning hits, so I'm assuming it's going to create some sort of sparks. So I added that, and then there's just a few keyframes for the distance and the opacity. So I wanted to travel from here to here. Oh no, it was actually from, let me see, yeah, so it travels extremely fast. It's only a few frames here, see, 1, 2, just a few frames, so it's right there, and then it travels. Okay, and these are all the same. These are all just some more elements integrated here. For example, that one. Well, here. Where is it? Okay. So another, just some sort of sparks coming out of the ground. So again, that was, I just thought. Then this one looks much more exposed, and to be honest, I think this would be more realistic, given the amount of supposed to be energy that these things carry. So, but okay. So it takes a lot of time to find the moment that I want to apply these to, or the look. Basically, the longest it took me was to find the proper lightning type for this transition, and the time to replicate it. And since you have to create some keyframes to make it animated, so finding the keyframes, putting the position where it wants to be, what time does it come in, what time does it come out. This looks pretty cool, actually. Just thought about it, something. But and then once you have all that done, you could pretty much and I'm gonna go half rest. Once you have all that done, oh, my computer is rendering pretty fast, and although I have a bunch of different elements, but I'm assuming it's gonna take. Okay, this looks pretty cool. We can add a lot more effects to this. I would definitely add some sort of I'll do another tutorial for that, but that little effect, yeah, when it comes down, that looks very cool. So I guess that's the color doesn't match, right? So that's the first mistake. Now I recommend you guys go through your composition a few times, and I like to work on this the same way I sometimes work on music. I leave this for a few minutes, probably take like 20-30 minutes. You know, if I'm eating or if I'm doing something, I'll just stop working on it and then go eat, go do something, and come back and look at it again. And then I find a lot of mistakes, or maybe I don't like it anymore, and that's when you start getting into like the small details. For example, here we just found one where the lightning doesn't match, or the color at least. So this lightning, these two lightnings, or I don't know if it's one or two, it would look a lot better if they were the same color. Now it may look a lot better if this lightning, which is inside my subject, was this color, but you know, it's just a matter of experimenting there. Now after that, you guys have seen my color corrections, so it's just vignette, and just activate all these with the blue. I mean, I always like to add a layer of a solid color, and then just the opacity, bring it down to 20 or work out around there, and then I experiment with this. If I can, for example, check this out. It looks darky-ish, like some sort. I mean, this looks like a scene for a I don't know, like a vampire versus wolf type of thing. That's like the basic stuff they normally do, something like that. I don't know. But okay, you know, just experiment with all the settings here. For example, if we make it red, now it looks like very more vampire type of thing, I would say, or like burning. I don't know, you know, colors express a lot. That's why there's you know, color corrections on film, not just to make them look pretty or whatever. No, colors give you expressions as well. It's like everything else. All right, guys, with that, we are gonna wrap this up. Alright guys, that's it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys liked it and learned something from it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And also make sure you hit that subscribe button, as tutorials are going to start getting better and better. If you guys want to get in contact with me, just chat. You can contact me through Facebook or Twitter. As always, I'm Sean Garris. Thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next time.